Hi guys again, it's Evelyn, hello, and welcome to my cozy corner. I am here to talk about the different machines I've used, the pros and cons, and the reason why I love them, the reason why I didn't like them, and some of the things they included that were a highlight compared to maybe other machines I was looking at the time. I did mention a lot of my machines in my first Let's Talk Sewing video, and I'm thinking I should probably show you guys some photos of the different machines I have. So some of these models might have come in different names, as some brands have sister brands and brother brands and things like that. But these are the models that you can find in Australia. So let's start with the very first machine I've ever owned, which was in 2023 around the October-November period, I think, as well. So that was the Singer C430. So I got that on sale on Amazon. I initially wanted to make things for my pets, so I was thinking I definitely want something I can sew through fleece, and I didn't know anything really about low shank, high shank, or all these different features that I may need in future. I just thought, oh, it's got like so many different stitches. I can do like little embroidery because it's got those little letters that I can stitch out. And it was a really good price, and it was a very simple display. It was very easy to use. I really liked that part of it. The only thing I found was that it didn't include a lot of things. I don't know if it had a zipper foot, but I'm 100% sure it didn't have a walking foot. So I was just like trying to go through so many layers of fleece, and it was really struggling. I think because the way you do guinea pig liners is you've got at least 2 layers of fleece and then like the insert. So I use batting, or I use some sort of like thick 200 GSM sort of like polyester stuffing. It was really struggling, this machine, to feed through, and because it's for pets, I don't care about how neat the stitches are. But when you get to 6 or so layers of fleece, it gets really tough. So I found that it was just way too low, and not having a walking foot, and walking foot's costing like $50 to $100 or whatever it is. I might as well buy a new machine at that price. So I ended up selling the Singer, and then I was looking for a while, comparing different things. I looked at both new and secondhand, and I was still very new with like sewing, so I didn't know all these different features. And that's where my next machine came along and just opened my eyes to the things I will never live without anymore. So that's the Juki DX2000, and it is an amazing machine. It has so many things included into it. It's got a wide table. It's got like 20 plus different feet attachments that is already comes included. It comes with a hard case. It comes with a knee lever. It comes with all these different stitch styles. You can do lace, embroidery, whatever you want with it. It is an amazing machine for the price it was, and I love it. I love the Juki. It sews so smoothly, sews through everything I could ever need it to sew. So I've been happy since. I think I've been around at least 6 months plus since I've owned the Juki. So I got it secondhand, but it was barely used, just for some mending. Came with all the accessories, came with the boxes. So the only downside is finding a Juki service technician. There is not many around, and if something breaks, it'd probably be an hour to 2 hour drive for me to get it somewhere to repair so they can get the parts. But it's an amazing computerized machine, and if you're going into that $1,000, $2,000 bracket, it's definitely bang for your buck. For the price, it comes with so much. And the only thing I could think it would benefit from is probably just having an even larger throat area. I find that if I'm doing quilts and stuff, I get a bit stuck. But otherwise, most things I can sew with. Oh yeah, should have mentioned with the Singer C430. I know a lot of other people, YouTubers also own it. I think it's a really good machine if you're doing garment making. I find a lot of sewers that are doing mainly clothes, they do everything on the Singer C430, and that was fine. I just found that it really struggled with the fleece, whereas the Juki just powers through it. But obviously there is a price difference, but RRP, the Singer was like $1,000, the Juki is $2,000, so there is that price difference. But with what you get, you're getting a lot of value from the Juki because it comes with so many attachment accessories. Like the Singer doesn't come with a wide table, and to get a wide table custom made, I'm pretty sure it's about $100 to $200 plus. The Singer doesn't have the knee lifter, pivoting, things like that, whereas the Juki does, and that helps it really get past really thick seams like what I was using it for. It's definitely a machine I want to keep forever. Those are I guess the two differences. You've got the price difference, you've got the accessories difference. Like obviously the Singer didn't have a walking foot, but the Juki did. It had way more attachment. It just came with so much more things standard compared to the Singer machines. And for the $1,000 difference, you might as well get the Juki because it comes with all those things. If you end up getting it later on, third party, generic attachments, or if you don't even use it at all, whatever else, it just comes with everything. Great machine. It's got pretty much your start, reverse stitch, single stitch, automatic cutting, needle up and down, presser foot up and down. You have the option to use a presser foot or not. The foot controller, you have the option to use that if you want. At the start, I didn't use the foot controller just because of my limited space, but I've started to use it more and more now. I think you can also probably set up the control. Like, I haven't explored my machine enough to its full potential. There's so many different features it has. I mainly just use it for straight stitching. I've done a bit of rolled hem, I've done overcasting stitches, but I mainly just use it to sew a couple of quilts so far, sewed fleece liners. Yeah, not too much on this machine to its full potential, but I look forward to making more things, challenging myself, challenging my machine. I don't do any leather works yet, but I do want to do some bag work. I like making bags later in the future using like vinyl and things like that. I recently picked up some iron-on vinyl for my Tula pink fabric. But anyway, my mechanical machine it's a domestic semi-industrial machine, I think. It's a high shank single stitch machine. So that means it's not computerized. It's only got one stitch, and that's a straight stitch. And you just customize length based on the dials there it has, and you have to adjust tension as needed. That's probably it. I don't know too much about it. I just was like, when people have their arsenal of machines, there's usually a mechanical one. Some of the things I do wish I could get in the future will be a featherweight. That's like a dream, but it's a bit too expensive, and because it's older, it's meant to be very sturdy. I mean, it's like 50, 70-year-old machines. I'm not confident I'll use it, but it's meant to be really light. It's meant to be really great for quilting and things like that. So something like a featherweight 222K or 221K would be really nice. But again, it's just so expensive here. I think most people are trying to sell it for like $1.5 to $2.5 thousand. So featherweights will outlast even myself. So it would be nice to have. You know, it's like when you see new technology, ooh. Whereas with sew, it's like, ooh, this vintage thing. My Next machine I'll talk about is the Bravo VM5200. I'm just trying to think how to describe it, because you've got your flagship machines, which is like your 20-25K machines. Then you've got the previous generations, which will end up being about your 10 to 18,000s. So this one is around the 5,000s. So it's about the third or fourth, so like most expensive machine you can get, and it's very expensive because it's a combination machine and it's got such a large hoop space. So a combination machine is a machine that can do both machine embroidery and regular sewing. So what I like about this machine was, one, I got a secondhand, so price was great for what it was. Two is the large stitching area. Three, which is what I found amazing, was you can take an embroidery arm off. You don't have to take the embroidery arm off if you want to do regular sewing. So some machines you need to take off the embroidery arm to convert it back to a regular sewing machine. So a lot of people find that the reason why you have one embroidery only machine and one sewing machine is so if one goes down, you can still do other stuff with the other machine, or you get lazy with changing the arm from embroidery arm to regular sewing. I'm really lazy with taking the foot, so I don't think I'll be sewing on this machine anytime soon, because it will be my only embroidery machine once my Janomes go to someone who's interested in buying it, because got to offset those expenses that I'm doing after buying this machine. Some great things it has is it has an amazing auto threader. Like, comparing it to the Janome, you only need to put it through 2 other slots after it goes through the top threading guide, and it pokes it through the needle, and there's a little arm there that swishes back and forth to make sure that the thread is always behind the needle. I am amazed at Bravo's technology. I think it's one of those things that people maybe don't talk about enough, because it says automatic threading button, but there's a lot of automatic threading buttons, and they're not actually automatic. Well, I mean, this one is actually just a button. The other ones you have to pull a lever. I don't know if they call it automatic threading button, but I'm pretty sure it's like automatic threading. But you actually just manually pull it down and have to like pull the thread out the behind eye of the needle, things like that. And it is amazing, and it makes me laugh at how there is a speaker on this machine, and that speaker plays a sound at the end of each embroidery section. So when you do an embroidery design, there'll be like different sections you stitch out, and it'll stop after each part. Your machine is going to congratulate you. It's like the Japanese microwaves that play a song at the end of the heating up your food. I was like, I didn't do that much research. I'm just like, what's the size? How many stitch count does it have, because I'm buying it secondhand? What does it come with? Foot pedal, knee lifter, pivoting. This one doesn't come with like the pen option, where if you want to go back to a certain stitch, you can use the pen to point at what stitch you're trying to do. That is only on the embroidery only version. I think maybe the VE or 2300 or something like that, 2300, whatever the number is. So that's on the embroidery only version of this sort of tier machine. But for what it has, it's amazing. Secondhand price is great. It's probably better than the Janomes at the 5.5K range. So it's really good. I don't want to sell my Juki just because I've got another machine that can sew, that can pivot, that can use a knee lifter, because my Juki runs really well. I really love this machine so far. I'm looking forward to making a lot of projects with it, especially since my machine is wearing out fast at the rate I use it. It's already got 750 hours in stitch count, and I think 100 or 200 hours were my stitches. Alright, so the other machine that I'm going to be saying goodbye to is my Janome 550E. It is a great machine for value. So at the time when I was looking for machines, most of the machines I saw were really expensive or cost a lot more to get similar sized hoops. So the Janome, I think, comes with the 7.9 by 14, and that is a massive hoop for that price. I think the Bravo is 8x12 for a 5.5 combo machine, and it's about 8 to 9,000 ex demo for a similar size hoop, maybe a 9. I don't know if that's a 9.5 by 14. That might be 9.5 by 14. But you can see every inch you go pretty much increases the price by double. Like you can get the Janome 400E for half the price of this 550E, obviously. And that will only do an 8x8. But then once you get that 8x14, you're just increasing the price by a lot. It's great for me as someone who started getting into quilting, eventually edge-to-edge quilting, making a lot of in the hoop project. But for someone just doing logos and stuff, I think the larger hoops are a bit overkill, unless you're doing like a back of a shirt, hoodie, things like that, where you need a larger size hoop. What I do like about the Janome 400E, 500E, and 550 is that all the accessories are pretty much cross-compatible, except for obviously hoops that are bigger than what the maximum stitch size is. So your 400E can only use anything under 8x8. Your 500E can only use anything less than, what is it? I think it's 7. No, it's just like almost like a 7x11 hoop, something like that. And the 5D is obviously the 7.9 by 14. Yeah, I really like that. So if you start small, you can always upgrade to a 550 later on when budget allows, when you've paid off the first one, or you make enough money from embroidery that you can afford to get it. But because I do this as a hobby, it's all about selling off other crafts like crochet, yarn, and other hobbies and interests. So no merchandise, no electronics for me. It's all going into machines. So yeah, so the 5D is pretty much going to be going. I won't be having that anymore. Within, at least by next year, I definitely won't have it. The next machine I have is an Overlocker. I've never used it, but the one feature I do know, it's got an air threader. So that's the Juki MO 2000. I got that with my Juki DX 2000. I look forward to learning it, but not at this stage. I'm too busy with a lot of projects, like with Halloween coming up, Christmas coming up, and there's a lot of quilts that I'm trying to make. I haven't taken out the Serger at all. Plus, it's a whole learning curve. Everything's a learning curve. The air threader should make it really easy. But yeah, so that's pretty much my summary of all the machines that I have and that I probably want. What else can we talk about? I don't know if I want to invest in... I don't have photos of it, but some of the machines I would like to get in the future is probably a multi-needle embroidery machine, so then I don't have to like do 40 color changes when I do one design, because I've had to do that and it takes longer for me to change every thread than actually stitching up the design. Like I was doing a 5x7 inch design, and that took over an hour to stitch, but then it took me actually like 2-3 hours just because I just had to keep changing the thread every less than 1,000 stitch. A multi-needle machine would be great, but those kind of start at like $8,000, I think, and I need to save up for a new car first before I start thinking about these big industrial machines. Plus, I don't have the space for it, you know. Those are dreamings. Those are dreams. But yeah, thanks for joining me talk about my machines. There's not some of the things I'm like really into, some of the things I'm not knowledgeable on because I just haven't used it enough. Plus, I'm still new. Like all of these things, I'm just like, based on my experience, these things are great for what I do. It might be different for other people, especially if you're more experienced, and if you're not experienced, some people have a lot of trouble with some different machines. Like with the Janome, people have a lot of difficulties pretty much importing designs onto a USB, because with the Brother, you just plug it in and it reads it straight away. Whereas the Janome, you have to put in a certain folder for it to read, and there's only so many folders it will go into. I think it's about maximum 3 subfolders or something like that it will read. The only thing I don't like about the Brother right now, the Brother VM 5200, is that I don't know how to change the view of designs in my USB. I don't know if there's a setting for that. This is the only machine I've actually never read the manual for. The Bravo, I only skimmed through it just to make sure I was changing the needle right, if I need to oil it, things like the maintenance. But I didn't check if I could change the view of the USB so I can actually read the name, because it does tell you which side, what size in millimeters each design is, but you have to click on it. I just want to see the name, because the name on the file will tell me if it's for a 5x7 hoop or whatever. So that's still a learning curve. I've only used it for like 2 days now, because I got it like 3-4 days ago. But yeah, that's the only thing I can think about. So I think I'm pretty much happy with all the machines I have. I got really into it really hard, really fast. But it's something I've been enjoying every day. And I am using at least one machine every day, if I can help it. So I look forward to chatting more as the weeks go on about my different project updates. I've also already just started on the pump and treat bags that I mentioned in part 2 about my goals in October and November. I had about 3 hours of technical issues this morning trying to get my keyboard to work, and one of my CD readers wasn't working. So I couldn't get started on the quilt I wanted to start on, but that's okay. It's just one day of delays and 2 more days of not being able to machine embroider. I'm having withdrawal symptoms before I even have it. But anyway, I really love this hobby. Sewing's been a lot of fun. Machine embroidery is a lot of fun. I love making quilts lately. It's just once you do one, you keep doing more. Anyway, have a lovely day, or evening, or night, wherever you are, and thank you for watching. Till next time, until our paths entwine.